you finally got the anchor, and and now we're ready to talk. How was it sailing up to the anchor? Was that an adventure?
Oh yes, it sure was.
I'll hang on to this.
As you saw, I'm only learning to handle this boat. I have sailed this boat only a couple of months, and my 6 meter I have been trying to learn for 35 years to maneuver without an engine, and this is a bit clumsier, especially with rudder full of goose barnacles. So
yeah. Okay, so how does it feel to be here? That's the first question. I mean, it's been pretty tough for you, you know, like coming through lots of little problems and stuff. So what's your first emotion about being here?
Well, it's great to be here, and it's my first time in Australia and Tasmania, and it's absolutely fantastically beautiful and gorgeous landscape. And already when I came on top of the continental shelf before sighting land, the change of the sea life was remarkable. The amount of birds and fish and different species, and getting closer to land. And then when I did see the land, the landscapes they are just breathtaking and absolutely fantastically beautiful.
Yeah. So the boat. Let's get into the boat. You left in mad panic because the rebuild took a long time and had lots of little problems. But you still seem comfortable and you're still enjoying it. So how do you feel about the boat? How, you know, honestly, are you miffed or are you happy or you know what?
Well, I'm very mixed feelings. That I always have loved my boat, and I love this one too. But the fact that it was kind of a do-it-yourself kit, which I started the race with, and I throughout the. I can pretty honestly say that in the Atlantic I had the tools and spares and materials and glues and screws and stuff out every single day doing something, and either finishing unfinished things or trying to fix problems the best I could, and so it did take a bit of the fun of the sailing away, and also maybe concentration on competitive sailing. So that was a disappointment. But bit by bit the boat is getting ready or closer to being ready. Boats are never ready. That when you think they are ready, they start falling apart. But I'm pretty happy of the state of the boat now, except that it would be nice to have well, many things, a working engine and so on. But let's say that I feel safe with the boat, and that's the most important thing. That this is a very special race that. I have said right from the beginning that in addition to racing and competing against other sailors, that actually the most important competitor or opponent is the sea.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that the boat is pretty much fit for fight.
Fit for fight. So, but now you've finished the first lot. You've been battling to get out here, and you're on your way home. That must feel good. Do you feel as if this is the start of something new now that you're in Australia?
No. I just. It's exciting and fantastic to be here, and I enjoy this very much. But this is a very separate little thing, and having been awake straight for I think 54 4 hours now. I long getting back to sea and getting a proper sleep. I sleep better at sea than anywhere else, and I love sleeping in the boat. And I'm not starting something new. I'm just getting back to the rhythm and routine which I have developed during the 4 gone months.
You've got one of the smallest boats in the fleet. Down below, how's the human dynamics of your accommodation, and is it still dry?
Yes, I have a bulkhead here behind the mast, and then another bulkhead about here, and then the traditional sea bunks here. They are separated from the saloon, so I have actually a space of 1.85 meters, because I'm 181 long, so the bunk is tailor-made for me, so it's a couple centimeters longer than I am. So 185 times from here to the other side, so it's about 2 meters, and then 180 high. And that is the nucleus or the core or the heart of the boat, and it's separated from everywhere. So when I get in with my wet clothes, I have I showed wrong. Actually, the bulkhead goes here and at the mast. So this is the wet compartment part here. So I go through the main hatch. So on the other side I have galley, and this is the spar department, which means that there's the loo but I also get off my wet clothes there, and then I put my dry shoes on and step through. There's a quite narrow opening in the bulkhead, and which is closed with a canvas door. So I step into the dry part of the boat, and I have the radios and navigation in the dry part, and I sleep on the starboard side. I have always slept on the starboard side in all the boats I have had or sailed.
And it's still dry, the bunk?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well, it gets humid, but there's the chimney of the Dickinson propane heater, and it got kicked out for a while with a wave, but I got it running again, and whenever there's not too much water on the deck, I open it and put it on, and I have 50 kilos, or I still have maybe, I think I have about more than half left. I have almost 30 kilos propane left, and so it's actually pretty fantastic having it's the Dickinson fireplace heater, so you see the fire. So when I'm outside and it's dark, I see the fire inside, and I get in and get some hot water and put some rum into it, and leave all my wet clothes there, and I have my woolen pants which my granny knit for me 40 years ago. So I already sailed around the world once with the woolen pants, and I put those on, and then I get my novel and the rum and drink some and read some, and then go to sleep and sleep like a baby, and I'm happy.
Okay, so you went through a pretty interesting storm as you were approaching Tasmania, and really you didn't talk much about it. You just said the birds were great and the sunsets were great and it was really beautiful out here. I'm not sure what's been your biggest storm, but just describe it the best you can and what your tactics were, because everyone's interested in who's doing what, who's running warps, who's running drogues, who's just going fast or laying a hull, whatever. What's the story?
Probably I think to be honest, I think that most probably I have been maybe the luckiest in the fleet, or one of the luckiest ones, without hitting the perfect storm yet. So I haven't had any real difficulties with the weather or the waves, or of course the wind is at times it's frightening, and the waves are big, but this boat was built or rebuilt like a tank. It's heavy as hell and really strong, and it's actually so thick and the sandwich construction that when I go in and take my I think I have read about 4,000 pages so far. So when I'm reading my book and taking it easy, and then I come through the canvas door to this veranda of mine and open it, I realized that that heck, that there's quite a storm going on, and I don't feel it inside. The boat is really silent, and the I love the I have been an Olin Stevens fan since childhood, and this boat really takes the waves and the seas very softly, and so you realize the force and fierceness of the storm only when you get up on the deck.
So you haven't actually had to hove to, or you haven't had to tow warps or anything
no,
yet?
No, nothing like that.
Yeah.
I have only once had reef number 4 down, and you see, I've had the storm jeep at the pulpit for the last 1.5 months to be hoisted whenever needed, but I have had it up only in the last storm, which you mentioned then, because you were predicting that it would be 55 to 65 knots, so I got a bit scared and took the storm jeep up proactively.
What do you reckon it got to? What did it get to, do you reckon?
No idea.
Yeah. Yes.
But well, it was screaming and howling, and so it was strong, but for a time I had only the reef number 1 and the storm jeep.
Yeah.
But pretty soon I took part of the staysail out again.
Yep. So for a young guy, you look pretty healthy. You've turned up. You don't look as if you've lost a lot of weight. You don't look too stressed, you know.
He's a young guy, huh?
Yeah, young guy. So
I'm about to be pensioned.
Yeah, me too, but that's another story. So how do you feel physically? Like, there's health and physical. You know, like you feel healthy and you feel strong, sort of thing.
Well, I've never felt strong in my life, but I feel very healthy and very happy, and I have very good food, and I have my super porridge. I won't go to the recipe of it, but it has, I think, 8 or 9 ingredients, which I make every morning, and then I eat a lot of fish and vegetables, and put everything into the same pressure cooker, and I think my tummy hasn't been working as well for the last quarter of a century.
What veggies are you using? Dried?
Pardon?
What veggies are you using? Like vegetables? Freeze dried or dried? Or?
No, they're in tins or jars.
Yeah, in jars. Okay, yeah. Okay. And so are you working to a routine, like a breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or are you just eating when you feel like it?
Well, I have a routine. I have the big porridge every day, and I'm looking forward to that every morning because it's really good. I put blueberries and honey and stuff like that into it, and I have I don't know how much milk I have, but a hell of a lot, and I still the milk is still good, which I have, and then I put that into the porridge. And
is it powdered milk or UHT?
No, it's liquid. And
so what about water? How's your water supply and your water tanks and so on?
I didn't want to take any risks with water, so I have 4 separate polyurethane water tanks, which are 180 liters. So I think I have double as much water than anyone in the fleet, and it's fresh and good, and I drink a lot of it, and I think I have over half of it left, so I'm fine with the water.
What about your hands? Just look at your hands. They feel good?
Oh yeah, my daughter, who's a doctor, she told me to start greasing my hands, and I have done it for the first time in my life. And
is that with silicone grease?
Well, I think she gave me 5 or 6 different types of things. So when I go to the bank and get my book, so before starting reading, I oil or grease my hands, and actually one of the many books I'm reading right now. I think for the 3rd time, Bernard Moitessier's book, and he said already 50 years ago that it's important to. Moi moi, hei, kiitos kun tulitte. Oli hauska nähdä.
Okay.
I had a Finnish Tasmanian welcoming couple wishing me welcome here. So, but Bernard Moitessier said already 50 years ago that you have to take care of your hands, and I think that it's like your wrench or any tools in the toolbox, which we all. So my fingers and hands are my best tools, and I used to have all these things open earlier and bleeding and hurting, but now everything is in good shape.
Yeah. Okay.
I also have really good sealskin neoprene gloves. For the first time in my life, I have been using gloves, and I have a few pairs of them. At first, I cut the fingertips off, but then I tried them the next pair without cutting them, and I can tie and untie knots with the sealskin neoprene gloves, so I do recommend them.
So have you been really cold, like on deck? It's like freezing cold, and it's been a problem, or have your clothing systems and always warm at night, things like that?
Well, my wind pilot self-steering has been working really reliably, so I haven't been hand steering practically at all. So that means that I don't need to be on deck for anything else than for adjusting the sails and the wind pilot. Well, I don't know if it's about me getting old and clumsy. My maneuvers go slow; they're slower and slower. So when I jibe and take a reef or shake a reef, it takes me 1.5 or 2 hours. So that's a pretty long time. But I'm sweaty most of the time, and I wear this. Where is it? The clothing technology has developed fantastically. I think that when I did the Whitbread 38 years ago, I think the clothes of that time had developed less from the time of the square riggers than what they have developed from early 80s nowadays. So this is my Finnish Ursuit dry suit, which I wear always under my heavy weather gear, and so actually I have very little clothes on when I go on deck to work. I just have a thin, this is a merino wool thing which is this thin. You can see through it, and I have cotton boxers and t-shirt and these, and then a dry suit, this is really thin, this dry suit, and then my heavy weather gear. And the Henry Lloyd is good and light and quick to put on, but then when it's really rough and I'm in water up to my armpits, then I put another Finnish-made ursuit, dry suit, which has a zipper around the waist, so that I could basically swim with that.
Yeah.
But I'm very lightly clothed, much lighter clothed than earlier when I'm on deck.
Okay, so what did you forget, or what do you missed most? Did you forget anything, or what's the thing you missed most besides family and friends?
What did I forget? The bird book, which I asked you to get to me. but luckily the Moitissier, Bernard Moitissier had described most of the birds, but there's one species which he didn't remember the name of it, and he dubbed it himself. He called it Cape Robin. It has the kind of a W on the top of the wings and flies like a swallow. It's really a fantastic flyer.
Yeah, I didn't give him the book, by the way. I couldn't, so you haven't got it. But never mind, next time. Okay, so what's your favourite thing on board? Your favourite gadget, or what's the most valuable or best thing you've got on board?
The books.
The books, yeah. And how many you got in total, you reckon?
Lots of them.
Lots, yeah.
I have enough. I have enough.
Okay.
And I have been saying for the last 35 years that I need to get a long enough jail sentence or sail around the world again to read the unread books that I want to read. And so I haven't got the jail sentence yet, so I had to sail around the world. And I'm happy now I have read Marcel Proust's